looking out for.
To the debaters, you are welcome. You know the rules already, all right? We expect you to be confident, eloquent. Just be yourself. You know your motion, okay? We are looking for content. We are looking for your argumentation skills, how you present, how you tackle the point being made by your opponent. So we know all of you are skilled at what you do already, and so we wish you all the best, okay? Yeah.
All right, I think we are set. We can start from the school for the motion. Gomoa Senior High Technical School.
The chair, that was the form of the Shai traditional area in the Dagovis district on the roles of modern chief in campus, in partial jury, or protocols dealing with that. My name is Vince Offend, principal speaker of Gomoa Senior High Technical School debated, taking the affirmative side of the motion over the course. Traditional leadership should play a larger role in the government of Ghana. The chair, after my delivery comes the first supporting speaker, then the last speaker forms the argument to offend the motion. As it was needed, it evidence, so dependent into what the argument. The chair, I crave your indulgence to explain the key terms in the motion. First is traditional leadership. The African Journal of Political Science defines traditional leadership as a system of leadership that is based on the cultural, social, and religious norms of a community, and is often hereditary and appointed by elders or community members. Next is the phrase to play a larger role. According to the Oxford Dictionary, this phrase means to have a more important, significant, or influential part in the situation or something. Last but not least, governance. The United Nations Development Program 1997 defines governance as a process of decision making and a process by which decisions are implemented. The chair, at its core, the motion means that chiefs, kings, and other traditional leaders should have more influence and authority in how Ghana is governed. The chair, let's be quick to add that the bone of contention here is the phrase playing a larger role in governance and not taking over governance, as our opponents here may be tempted to conclude. Once again, my team and I affirm the motion. Based on the advanced undisputed argument, we are going to expound. Now to my first argument, colonial legacy. The chair, chiefs are still seen as embodying governmental authority because of the legacy of colonial indirect rule system, where chiefs were a major element in the colonial government, both at local level as native authority and in central institutions such as Joint Provincial Council. As Lord Lugard, the architect of indirect rule, noted, and I quote, traditional authorities are the backbone of the native administration. Unquote. Lugard, 1922. Esteemed judges, chiefs played a larger role in implementing colonial policies and programs, which led to the significant developments in the Gold Coast, including the construction of the Accra-Kumasi railway lines, the Takrady Harbour, and the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. The appointment of Nanase Oforiatta I to the Executive Council in 1942, as noted by historian Emmanuel Champo, marked a significant turning point in the recognition of the importance of chiefs in governance. At Champo, 2011. This legacy demonstrates that traditional leadership can collaborate with modern institutions to drive development, as noted by Kwame Nkrumah, and I quote, the traditional institutions of our people are not mere relics of the past, but a living force that can be honored for the development of our country. Unquote. In Nkrumah, 1964. Now to my second argument, traditional leadership as complementary governance structure. The chair, when traditional leadership play a larger role in the governance of Ghana, it will serve as a complementary governance structure and provide grassroots governance that suit the demands and needs of rural folks. Panel of judges, it is an undeniable fact that most government officials often neglect these areas, leaving traditional leaders to fill the gap. The chair, it is therefore in order to give traditional leaders a larger role to play in the governance of Ghana, as they have since time immemorial indirectly played executive, judicial, and legislative roles for their subjects. Moreover, the 1992 Constitution of Ghana makes provision for the recognition of the importance of chiefs in governance. Article 270, Clause 1 clearly states, and I quote, the institution of chieftaincy, together with its traditional council, as established by customary law and usage, is hereby guaranteed. Unquote. I tender in evidence. Now to my third argument, traditional leadership promotes active democratic participation of citizens. The chair, traditional leaders are the embodiment of democratic participation, serving as the authentic voice of their people and ensuring proper community engagement to drive development. The chair, traditional leaders like Otumfo Osei II, Nana Amotia Oforipenny II, and Togbe Apede the 14th have consistently demonstrated their ability to mobilize their subjects towards collective growth and development as the people listen and believe in them more than politicians. Ladies and gentlemen, recently the Asante Hene Otumfo Osei community to the second, use his power and influence to attract massive support from across the length and breadth of Ghana, and even in the diaspora, including the players and the stars of the Ghana officials in his Hill Konfanochi project. The chair, consequently, the stars assured the king of their support to help complete the project, which had been abandoned for decades. I tender in evidence. The chair, this is a demonstration of the leadership we need in the governance of Ghana. Now to my fourth argument, conflict resolution and peace building. The chair, traditional leaders possess exceptional powers and skills in conflict resolution, making them invaluable assets in Ghana's governance, as widely encapsulated by a renowned author, Desmond Tutu. Traditional leaders have deep understanding of the cultural nuances and complexities of their communities, enabling them to resolve conflict in a way that is both effective and sustainable. Unquote, Tutu, 2009. After all, that is what traditional leadership resonates, a symbol of unity, peace, and accountability. Now to my fifth argument, deep-rooted connection to the people. The chair, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah once said, and I quote, "The traditional leader is a link between the past and the present, and the bridge between the government and the people." Unquote, Nkrumah, 1964. The chair, this connection enables them to intimately understand the challenges and needs of their people and address them. A classic example is the recent development the people of Dumesia in the Bunu region are experiencing under the Nkoswahini Nana Ayebia Fuchina. Tender in evidence. Similarly, Nana Pra Ajinsam of Asim Kushia in the Central region has used this connection to promote tourism and foreign investment. And today, Asim Kushia boasts of the cleanest town in the Central region and has the biggest palace in West Africa. Panel of adjudicators, such
but this should tell us the gravity of the motion here. This is how our opponents want the only revered institution left in Ghana, our traditional leaders, to be reduced to. This is not a small issue, but the renowned who is being insulted by Taylor. What at all did he do? He only supported Nanado and his predecessors. He didn't even take part in governance. So, with this, as a proud Ashanti, I beg my village chief not to take any larger role in governance. For if the whole Achihne has been reduced to this, I wonder what will happen to him. The chair, impartial panel of judges, a great timekeeper, fellow students, co-debaters, ladies and gentlemen, good day. I am Engineer Popia Osei, a student of St.Monica Senior High, and I'm elated to be called upon as the principal speaker against the motion before this August House today. Quote and unquote, traditional leadership should play a larger role in the governance of Ghana. The chair, before I begin my argument, permits me to explain the key terms in the motion for the benefit of everyone present. According to the Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary, traditional leadership is a process where someone exercises a form of leadership that rests on customary or traditional authority, such as lineage or descent. Larger is the comparative form of large, which means of considerable or great extent or size. Governance, according to Merriam-Webster, is the act or process of overseeing the control and direction of something, such as a country or an organization. In short, the motion posits that our revered men, the only institution which is currently held in high esteem in Ghana, should engage themselves or be assigned with more governmental roles by working with the government. To begin with the chair, conflicts of interest may arise when traditional leaders play a larger role in governance. Meanwhile, our traditional leaders are seen as symbols of national unity, cohesion, and bonding agents of citizens across the country, so they may find it difficult to remain neutral when conflicts arise in our locality. This dual role will cause conflicts which will eventually create disputes among community members. Traditional leaders may also have interests that are specific to their local groups or ethnic groups at heart and not the national interest, for which my opponents are saying that they should be called to serve. Let's take the Jabehine, who doubles as a member of the Council of State, into consideration. I know my opponents may think he has done a very commendable job by helping to develop the Jabin constituency. But look at Ifidiase, which is very close to Jabe. Compare the state of their roads and infrastructure to that of Jabe and tell me the difference. This should tell us that when traditional leaders are made to play a larger role in governance, they may focus on their community's welfare at the expense of others who may need it the most. I'm sure if this Jabe had the national interest at heart, he would fight for the development of his neighboring town as well. Also, traditional leaders playing a larger role in governance will create ethnic tensions in the country. Ghana is a multi-ethnic country, and the involvement of traditional leaders in governance can trigger ethnic divisions. It is an open secret that there's a thin line of hatred between Ashantis and Voltarians and other tribes as well. Can we imagine the tension that will be created in a volatile country like ours when traditional leaders go into governance and prioritize their ethnic groups' interests? For example, if Northerners see that they are underdeveloped only because chiefs chosen into governance are Ashantis, how would they feel? The chair, do we want to experience the Third World War? Moving on the chair, what my opponents are fighting for it's even unconstitutional if we all embrace and cherish democracy. Article 276 clause 1 of the 1992 Constitution of Ghana states, and I quote, "A chief shall not take part in active party politics." And I'm surprised my opponents here are fighting for chiefs to play a larger role in governance. I never knew they wanted to be enemies of democracy. Also, traditional leaders playing a larger role in governance will restrict judicial independence. Traditional leaders have judicial powers to adjudicate minor disputes, and involvement in partisan politics can compromise their independence and confidence when dispensing justice. You, my opponent, imagine you have a fight with somebody who belongs to the political party the chief is affiliated to. Would you get the right conviction to send the issue to the chief? No, you may feel the chief will be biased and rule in favor of that person. After all, the cockroach cannot be innocent in the garden of the fowls, neither can the fowl in the midst of the hawk. The traditional leaders playing a larger role in governance may be considered to be biased, even if they remain impartial. Let us not forget that we are in Ghana. When someone supports or comments a particular party, he or she is seen to be one of them. This will undermine the credibility of our traditional leaders. Imagine a traditional leader makes a decision at the local level. The members of the opposing party may not agree, because in Ghana, it is not about how beneficial whatever you are telling us is, but rather where you have aligned yourself. Politics has indeed clouded our sense of judgment, and that is Ghana for you. The traditional leaders playing a larger role in governance will stifle the development of the community and the nation at large. Traditional leaders play a vital role in community development by advocating for projects such as schools, hospitals, and roads. However, involvement in partisan politics can hinder development, especially when the supported party does not win elections. The your Chihine, by supporting Nanado, has in one way or the other declared its support for NPP. In the next reign, when NPP is no longer in power, what is the guarantee that the next party will undertake developmental projects there, as against a place that did not openly declare their stance? That's what that. It's in the DNA of every Ghanaian politician. No, traditional leaders, you have to be worried. According to the Afrobarometer round 7 survey in Ghana, 80% of the public hold the view that traditional leaders have been affected by the corruption canker. Why do we give people who have already lost their credibility in the eyes of the public a larger role? In fact, what governance knowledge do they have, apart from how to rule their communities using customs and traditions? That's you are fighting for them to be given a larger role. Wow. Lastly, it will lead to the complication of governance structure. Can we imagine a lower or sub-chief being chosen into governance when a paramount or higher chief is not? This will bring conflicts, right? Remember, the typical Ghanaian is always green with envy and always wants to be ahead of their own people. That is Ghana for you, and this is our behavior. Lastly, the chair of the house. If our traditional leaders do not remain where they are and try to fight for positions in governance, they will be shown their role size. If you doubt this, consult me, Ayibonte of Better Traditional Area, and let's meet later. Let us all uphold a sacred institution and not drag them to be insulted. There's a thin difference between large and larger, and if our opponents want traditional leaders to add the R to the large, all that R will bring is riots in our country. Thank you.
The chairperson, impartial panel of judges, all protocols duly observed. My name is Francisca Odum, first opposing speaker of Gomoa Senior High Technical School debate team, taking the affirmative stand of the motion, quote and unquote. Traditional leadership should play a larger role in the governance of Ghana. The chair, I affirm all that my principal speaker has said, and I proceed to advance new arguments. Then later, rebut some of the paperweight arguments raised by our opponents. Now to our seat arguments. Traditional leadership promotes social cohesion. The chair, chiefs command immense respect and loyalty from their subjects, which can be used to completely mobilize for development when they are allowed to play a larger role in the governance of Ghana, as rightly noted by Professor Kwesi Ansucheme 2004. Quote, chiefs are the embodiment of cultural and social values of their people. Unquote. This moral authority enabled them to inspire collective actions for development. In the Ashanti region, for example, the Asantehene, Otumfo Oseititi II, is able to bring all the people together to embark on communal labor to improve sanitation in the region. In contrast, politicians have struggled to replicate this level of cohesion and mobilization. The chair, the national sanitation they introduced in 2014 by the government, was met with apathy and disinterest, and nothing came out of it. I tender in an evidence. However, when traditional leaders declare a day of communal labor, every shop is closed, every car is parked, all activities come to a standstill, and the people, together with their chiefs, willingly participate. Impartial jury, that was the king of Asanteman, leading his people to clean the whole of Kumasi. By giving traditional leadership a larger role in governance, Ghana can tap into this social capital and foster a sense of community and shared responsibility. Now to our seventh argument, legacy of wisdom and experience. The chair, our position position on this motion hinges on the fact that traditional leaders in Ghana possess a legacy of wisdom and experience gained through generational knowledge, which is a recipe for stability and continuity in governance. As we know, Ghanaian author Ayekwe Ama once said, and I quote, "Traditional leaders are the custodians of our collective memory, and their wisdom is a treasure trove of knowledge," unquote. Ama 1979. This wealth of experience will enable them to approach governance with long-term perspectives, prioritizing the well-being of their people. The chair, the Nkoswohene of Dumesia in the Buni region, Nana Ayebia Fojina, recently demonstrated how traditional leaders can use their wisdom and long-term thinking to bring development to their areas of jurisdiction. The chair, this is what just one chief can do to his community, and we dare not keep such visionary leaders from the governance of Ghana. Now to our final argument: economic growth and development. The chair, traditional leaders have the authority to create economic opportunities, fostering job creation and improve livelihood. The Asante-Hene, Otofo Osei II, has been instrumental in establishing the Asante-Man Development Fund, which has attracted both local and foreign investments and created jobs in the Ashanti region for millions of people. Similarly, the paramount chief of Achim Ewakwa traditional area, Ochihine Osajifo Amotia of Repeni II, has implemented the Oshiman Development Fund to support small-scale businesses and farmers, according to a study by the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration, JIMPA. Traditional leaders have contributed significantly to local economic development, with 70% of their respondents citing job creation as key benefits. JIMPA 2019. The chair, by empowering traditional leaders, Ghana can tap into their entrepreneurial spirit to unlock economic growth and development. Now, rebuttals. The chair, my opponents made mention of conflict of interest. The chair, let me tell my opponents that traditional leadership is biblical. That is why we called God King of Kings and not President of Presidents. Again, they also made mention of chiefs as symbols of unity, so playing a role in governance could break down bond of unity. This argument is without merit. I want to curate that by saying playing a role in governance does not necessarily equate to partisan politics. Their involvement can rather strengthen unity by ensuring that diverse perspectives are addressed. So that argument is flawed. The chair, panel of judges, considering the sound and logical arguments we have raised, we hope we have you on our side. Thank you.
Traditional leaders contribute to governance by helping to donate materials and all the non-legitimate to give us. But nobody has solved it. So ask yourself how should play a larger role in governance. Because if they simply perform their duties well, there will be no need to give them a larger role in governance. They should simply brighten the context where they are. Imagine a traditional leader appointed into governance to defend a party's policies. Traditional leader moving away from his traditional role to serve his governance is not to be your question. The chair panel of judges, African people, fellow students, co-debaters, ladies and gentlemen, I am here assurance of Nabuza, supporting speaker, speaking against the motion before the house, quote and unquote. Traditional leadership should play a larger role in the governance of Ghana. The chair, since my principal speaker has already explained the key terms, permits me to delve straight into my argument. First of all, traditional leaders should not play a larger role in governance because it would bring community division. Chiefs play a key role in maintaining peace, resolving conflicts, and guarding their people. And when chiefs become involved in traditional governance, it can bring division between the chief and his people because they are seen as neutral figures who should not take part in politics. When a chief takes a larger governmental role, he will by all means support a political party that give him a chance, and that may bring tension between the chief and his people because not everyone may be in support of his political choice. It is like the chief has descended into the gutters, and the people will be ready to muddy themselves with him. This will lead to loss of respect and trust for the traditional leader because he will be seen more as a politician than a respected leader, and this shift in perception can weaken the overall unity of a community because the chief's authority will no longer be recognized. Also, the traditional leaders should focus on their core mandates assigned to them by the 1992 Constitution and not play a larger role in governance. For the framers of our Constitution took many things into consideration when we were making it. My opponents, allow me to educate you since you don't want to read your social studies textbooks. Our traditional leaders are to act as custodians of our natural resources and key stakeholders in land acquisition. They are to preserve our environment, settle disputes, and act as guardians by promoting and preserving our traditional heritage, values, and norms. The chair, are they done with these important roles? Why should we burden them with additional political responsibilities? I've seen a Bible on your table. Open to Matthew chapter 25, verses 14 to 20 if you want to understand. Furthermore, the participation of traditional leaders in governance is anti-democratic. Chiefs inherit their position through lineage or are appointed by a group of elders it does not reflect the will of the people. And this contracts the democratic process by which politicians are chosen through elections. Chiefs hold significant responsibilities in community, often taking decisions without consulting the people. And this can limit the participation of an ordinary citizen in the decision-making process because their voices are not heard. Politicians are expected to represent the interests of their constituencies, and they are held accountable to their people through regular elections.
While politicians operate within a framework of laws, chiefs often rely on customs and tradition. In addition, there will be loss of respect through the lack of accountability when traditional leaders are involved in governance. Chiefs are less accountable to their people when they are given political offices. Their loyalties can shift towards their political allies rather than their community members. And this can lead to an unfortunate situation where a chief is more concerned with maintaining his political power than serving his people, eroding the trust of the people. And when the trust is broken, accountability is weakened, and the overall development of the community suffers. Before the politics we see today, traditional leaders were in their reign and control of their people, even predating the advent of colonization. My opponents are speaking as though traditional institution is a new one, but we all know it isn't. What lessons and character traits the traditional leadership bequeath on us as a people? And remember, we are still experiencing it. Nepotism, greed, lordship, property grabbing, maltreatment of the innocent and vulnerable in community, and the forced appropriation of beautiful women in their communities as wives. We are already dealing with these issues with our politicians who are accountable to us. How much more traditional leaders who won't be accountable? My opponents are aware of this, but because this is a debate, they've become enemies of progress. It's an open secret that these traditional leaders my opponents are fighting for are the main reason for our country's inability to stop galamsey. And even Otunfo Osetutu confirms this, that some chiefs are behind it. Why are conflicts being laid bare on the tables of Antina and Mama Ife and not sent to our traditional leaders whose sole responsibility is to solve conflict? This is a testament that our traditional leaders have failed to perform their core mandates. So why should we burden them with larger role in governance? The chair of the house, let's maintain the status quo. Thank you.
The chair, the audio that was played by our opponents lacks argumentative weight because it is just an audio and not a video. So how are we sure that it was said by a king? The chair, our opponents argued that traditional leaders will create ethnic tension. They are trying to say that traditional leaders could have legal and constitutional implications since their authority is hereditary and unlimited. That is the fallacy, the chair. I want to remind our opponent that the 1992 Constitution of Ghana recognizes the authority of traditional leaders in Article 276 Clause 2. So that argument by our opponent is baseless. The chair, impartial jury, all protocols duly observed. A beautiful presentation, they say, deserves a beautiful summary. That is why I, Fatwad of Gomoa Senior High Technical School Debate Team, mount this stage to give a summary of the clear and vivid points we have raised in affirmation of the motion that, I quote, traditional leadership should play a larger role in the governance of Ghana, unquote. The chair, our position is that traditional leaders possess wisdom, legitimacy, and grassroots credibility to strengthen our governance. In all, we have phrased the following argument to affirm the motion. 1. Traditional leadership played a larger role in the colonial indirect rule system, which led to significant developments in the Gold Coast. We are guided by the colonial legacy. 2. Traditional leadership can serve as a complementary government and provide grassroots governance that suits the demands and needs of the people. 3. Traditional leadership will promote active democratic participation of citizens as chiefs serve as the authentic voice of their people and ensure active community engagement. 4. Traditional leaders possess a legacy of wisdom and experience gained through generational knowledge, which is a recipe for stability and continuity in governance. 5. Traditional leadership has a deep-rooted connection to the people, as rightly noted by Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and I quote, traditional leaders are the link between the past and the present and the bridge between the government and the people, unquote. 6. Traditional leadership will promote social cohesion that will inspire collective action for development. 7. Traditional leaders possess a legacy of wisdom and experience gained through generational knowledge, which is a recipe for stability and continuity in governance. 8. Traditional leadership have the authority to create economic opportunities to unlock economic growth and prosperity for local communities. And finally, traditional leadership in governance is recognized by the 1992 Constitution of Ghana under Article 276 Clause 2 and the Chieftaincy Act 2008 Act 936. Our respect for the laws of Ghana. The chair, before I resume my seat, permits me to conclude that traditional leadership in governance is biblically endorsed. In 1 Samuel chapter 8, verse 4 to 5, the Israelites requested for a king to rule them, but God appointed kings to lead them. Based on the validity of our argument, we have you on our side. Thank you.
Accurate timekeeper, co-debaters, fellow students, ladies and gentlemen, I greet you all. I am Abina Shrowa Otinyamiche, representing St.Monica Senior High School, and I am honored to summarize the points raised by my principal and subordinate speakers. The chair argues that 1. Traditional leaders playing a larger role in governance will give rise to conflicts of interest. 2. It will lead to ethnic tension in the country. 3, it will restrict judicial independence. 4, it is unconstitutional. 5, traditional leaders may be considered as biased. 6, it may stifle the development of the community and the nation at large. 7, traditional leaders have been affected by corruption. 8, it could lead to the complication of governance structure. 9, it will bring community division. 10, traditional leaders should focus on their core mandates assigned to them by the 1992 Constitution. 11, it is anti-democratic. 12, there will be loss of trust through the lack of accountability. And 13, traditional leaders may focus on community interests as against national interests. My opponents say that chiefs command respect, so they should be given larger roles to play in governance as it will help them. Well, my opponents, ask yourself why politicians are not respected. It's obviously because of politics. In Ghana, politics is a dirty game, and anyone who involves himself will eventually be dragged down the mud, and traditional leaders are no exception. My opponents also say chiefs are an epitome of culture, so it is necessary for them to be given larger roles to play in the governance of Ghana. My opponents, have we lost our culture? Have we lost our identity? It is for this same reason chiefs are given roles to play at the local level of governance. The chair, have traditional leaders been successful in preserving culture? If yes, what more do they need larger roles for? If no, then they should do their homework first before fighting for larger roles. Also, my opponents claim that traditional leaders can collaborate with the leadership to govern the country. My opponents, two captains cannot sail the same ship. Also, my opponents claim that the traditional leaders will be able to provide the demands of their people because they are with the people. Traditional leaders only need to make these needs known to the government and not necessarily play larger roles in government. The little roles, or should I say the bigger roles, already play in the governance of the local level. They are not doing it to the fullest. Why else should we add the R to make it larger? My opponents, traditional leadership is a biblical institution. Wow! Where were you when the Chihine sided with our Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo because he is the chief of his hometown? My opponents also claim that traditional leaders help with developmental projects. But my opponents, if they help with developmental projects, let them help. Who is stopping them? If they are doing well with their normal roles, why give them larger roles? How sure are you, my opponents, that the traditional leaders will continue with these developmental projects after aligning themselves with political parties who have their own policies? Thank you.
It's Francisca Odu.
Francisca coming through as the best debater for the second.